What is up everyone, this is Kilva back with another video on Alice Fiction, and I hope you're all as excited as I am because it is Alice Fiction's half-year anniversary, and with that half-year anniversary we have an event called Carnival of Heartfelt Gratitude, and in this event we also have a new banner unit, which is Freesia, and that is the focus of this video. Should you pull Fressia or not? But before we get into those details, let's just take a look and admire her artwork right here. Because I mean, if nothing else, at least Fressia is cute, right? And that's probably the most important thing if you're pulling in Gacha, in my opinion. The next most important thing is probably going to be the meta, right? If you want to be at the top of your game in either team hunts or in the challenge stages, then that's important. But first off, waifu over meta, right? So let's get started and dive in. So first things off, I want to mention that in this half-year anniversary campaign, we do have a free gacha. So it is called, I think it's called the Heart Pixel Gacha. So when you complete stages using energy, you'll get heart gacha for every single energy you spend, and then those heart pixels can be used to pull on the free pixel heart gacha. So you can get up to 60 draws that way, and one of the downsides to that banner is that you can only get tutorial or starting 3-star units. So if you're a new player, this is perfect for you to catch up because you'll be able to get units that you might be missing. For veteran players, it's still good but not as great. The plus here is that because we have the anima tree expansion coming up soon, where we need anima past 5 stars, this can still help us to get needed anima for those characters. So all in all, it's still a good thing. 60 pulls for free is always a welcome benefit, right? So let's talk about Freesia. And she is a wood type special attacker. And then I've already taken a look at her kit, and I have to say that, putting aside everything else, like if I didn't know what the event was about, if I didn't know what team hunt was coming, if I didn't know that the Carnival of Heartfelt Gratitude is going to have another challenge stage with a title behind it, then I would say that Freesia is probably good but not a must pull. But here's the caveat. I do know what Wonder Planet is trying to do, right? They always give us a problem and then they sell us a solution. So she's a solution. Now whether there are other solutions, we have yet to figure that out. But stay tuned for that. And I'll probably drop some links either in this video or in the description below for an overview of the Carnival of Heartfelt Gratitude event once I have that video up. And then I'll also have a video out on the challenge stage boss, how to clear it, and how to get that title. So just like the previous events, I'll be trying to do that. So once I have those videos up, I'll put them in the description below. But stay tuned for that. But for this video, let's talk about Freesia and her world memory, which is the Shape of Gratitude. So I've already taken a look at this as well, but the Shape of Gratitude is basically like Blame It on the Heat. It's very similar, but they have different conditions to meet in order to proc. So let's just take a look at the world memory first, and then after this, we'll talk about Freesia and whether you should pull her or not. So world memory, the Shape of Gratitude. So condition here is we need 2 or more wood allies, and then it enhances a special attack buff given by self, so it's a special attack enhancement buff by 92%. And then between the battles start, so turn 1 and turn 2, you have a 17.2% chance of having your own panels appear more regularly. So whoever has this equipped will have an easier time crashing and paneling because their panels are going to be more likely to appear, right? So nice bonus there. And then What is this similar to? This is similar to Blame It on the Heat, which I believe gives 105 or 108% special attack enhancement buff. So this one is 92%. So Blame It on the Heat does provide more raw value there, but the raw stats, if we look at the raw stats, the Shape of Gratitude gives 16.3% special attack and 16.3% HP. Blame It on the Heat doesn't give quite as much raw stat bonus for special attack. I don't remember how much, but in a second we'll go and take a look at that world memory so you guys can see it for yourselves and compare. So 92% versus 105, 108% or so. There is a bit of a gap there, right? So one of the things though is that this condition is probably easier to manage if you're using a team for that setup. So you need 2 wood allies to proc that 92%, but on Blame It on the Heat, the requirement is that you need to have 80% HP or more. So usually that's not a problem for the first turn, maybe even the second turn, but after that your HP might drop below 80%, and if you don't have a healer or something, or you don't have enough HP absorbed, then you won't be able to activate that buff anymore or that effect of the world memory, so then you lose that world memory's effect. Meanwhile, this one is 92%, so it's only about 10 to 15% lower in terms of the special attack enhancement, but it's much easier to remain active. So you will likely be able to have your full battle, so all your turns will have this buff effect, whereas with Blame It on the Heat, if your unit gets hit, you might lose that buff effect and you might only have half uptime, which would reduce it to essentially a 50% buff, if you want to look at it that way. So that's why this world memory is somewhat better. The disadvantage here is that it's really specific, right? Like we need to have 2 or more wood allies, meaning that you have to use this on the team with wood units, whereas the other one you can use it in other types of elements because it's only 80% HP requirement, so you can use it on a fire team or earth team or water team, whatever, right? Like it's just easier to proc in that sense. But this is a really good world memory specifically for Wayne Gang or Freesia, which is of course the units that's out on this current banner, so that's why this world memory is basically built for her. So that's my opinion on the Shape of Gratitude, is that it is a good world memory comparable to Blame It on the Heat, and it's worth pulling if you're a whale, but otherwise I would say hold back on it, because another problem with this banner is that none of the world memories on this banner are giving us log event bonus on the summer event rerun, event. So usually new world memories give us a log bonus on the event, and this time because it's a rerun event, these new world memories don't give us a bonus for the event. So it's really hard for me to even recommend using tickets for it, which is what I usually do. I use tickets to pull for world memories for the bonus, but because we don't have that bonus, I can't recommend pulling for this world memory if you are free to play or a low spender. If you're a whale, by all means go ahead. It is a great world memory. It's just really specific to a wood team, and of course no issues there because Wayne Gang is still pretty strong and Freesia is also a good unit. Now let's look at the 4-star world memory. Nothing too special about this one as well. It's comparable to buffs that we already, compared to world memories we already have. This is a defense enhancing world memory. So if a defense type has this equipped, it enhances the defense buff that they give by 35%. So this has no condition in terms of being special or physical, because it just says enhance defense buff. So it's a universal defense buff enhancing world memory, which is nice. But the raw stats are special attack and special defense. So that probably suggests that this is probably more better for special units. And then let's take a look at the 4-star world memories that already exist that are comparable to this. So we have I believe it's Photo to Remember. Right here, Photo to Remember, enhances physical defense buff given by self by 37%. And this is the physical version of that world memory, essentially, that we just looked at. It gives physical attack boost and physical defense boost for raw stats. And then we also have one for special defense, which is Siesta Dreams. So this one gives 37.8% again for special defense buff enhancement. And then it gives special attack and special defense for raw stats. So basically, it is a special attack version of Photo to Remember. And both of these world memories are very similar to the world memory that is now showing up in the gacha. So there's no reason to really pull for it. I mean, normally we wouldn't pull for that a 4-star world memory anyways. But there's no reason to at all because we don't even get a bonus in the current event for using those world memories. So the way you check that is you go to event quest, and then in the bottom right you see applied bonuses. So if you click on that, you can see which units are getting bond bonuses, and then you can see which world memories are getting log bonuses for this event. So none of those world memories that are new are showing up on here. So that's why I don't recommend or encourage pulling on it unless you're a whale and you just really want those world memories, because they are good world memories. They just don't benefit us in other ways. And it's hard to recommend that because most free-to-play or light spenders won't have enough courts to pull on crucial or key banners for units if they pull on world memories as well. Alright, so let's look at Blame It on the Heat, which is the world memory that is similar to Fresia's world memory. So here we see that it boosts physical defense, and when HP is above 80%, enhances special attack buff by 106%. So yeah, a lot better than, the current world memory for Fresia. It's about 10 to 15% more buffing, but the downside is, again, that HP requirement, and then the special attack that this world memory gives is not quite as good as Fresia's world memory. So I do think that, Blame It on the Heat or Fresia's world memory, they're both great world memories. They just have different conditions to them. So they're comparable, but they have different conditions. This is more universal because it doesn't have element requirement, but the 80% HP in some fights can be a bit hard to maintain. Whereas Fresia's world memory, as long as you're using 2 wood types, it's great. But it's basically specific for Wayne Gang or Fresia specifically right now. So it's really, really niche in that sense. But that's my opinion on the world memory. Let's talk about Fresia, which is probably what you're interested in. So first off, again, I think it's always worth considering pulling for a character just because they're cute, right? That's if you have enough courts. And that is the caveat here, because Fresia is a regular banner unit, she's not limited, there's always an opportunity for us to get her later. So that's why it's hard for me to say that you should or must pull for Fresia, because she is not a must pull in that sense, right? But there is a reason why you should consider pulling for her, and we'll talk about that as we go through. So first up, Fresia's crash skill does 63,000 damage at level 120, and she does that to 2 enemies. Now the first thing I want to mention here is that the current event challenge stage for the Carnival of Heartfelt Gratitude, that challenge stage where you can get the title, guess what? It has 2 bosses, right? So once again, all I can say is Wonder Planet, well played. Wonder Planet, well played, because they always give us a problem and then they sell us a solution for that problem. And so they've done it again. So we have a unit that can crash 2 units with their crash skill, and the boss for the challenge stage just happens to be 2 units. Alright, so that's that. It is a good damage, 63k. I think at level 90 is probably around maybe 50k or so, which is still pretty good, right? And then the thing is, it hits 2 units. So not quite as good as some of our single target in terms of total damage to 1 unit, but total damage here is pretty good output, as long as you have 2 enemies. and even if it's only one enemy, it's still pretty good damage. Her first skill, Flower Magic, is a 4-turn cooldown, and it converts her allies' panels into her own panels, up to 4. And then she also gives herself 5.7k Earth Slayer for 2 turns. So that's really the key here, is that Earth Slayer. It reminds me a lot of Daji, who was a fire special attack type unit that came out maybe a month ago now. And she's really similar to that in the way she works. So they're both really good special attack units. The difference here is that Freesia is specific to Earth Slayer, whereas Daji is specific to special attack units. So she's special attack Slayer. So I feel like Daji is a little bit more universal, but of course Freesia has flexibility because she just has Earth Slayer, meaning both physical or special attack bosses would be weak against her. So that's that. And then next we have her skill 2. Nothing too special about here, but there is a really key point here. So the first part is 17.59% chance of having her panels appear more often. And then the most important part here is she removes all attack binds on herself. What does that tell me? That tells me that this challenge stage that we have for this current event, or maybe even the team hunt boss, which we also know is an earth type, maybe and quite possibly those bosses are going to bind your units. That's what this tells me. And then I've actually already confirmed that the challenge stage boss does actually bind you on turn 1. And if you have attack bind on you, then you're not going to be doing much damage, because a lot of your damage is going to, you're bound, so most of your damage output is going to be missing. So that's why Freesia, if you want to do well in the challenge stage, I feel like Freesia is pretty important. Now, I'm not going to say she's a must-have yet, because I don't know if there's going to be another possible way we can beat the boss without her. But if you want the title and you want to keep up with the meta, then I would say that you probably should consider pulling for Freesia if you care about the title. If you don't care about getting the challenge stage title and you don't have a lot of courts, then you just save up, right? You can just skip Freesia. Alright, let's talk about her passive skill before I go talk about that more. When there are 2 or more wood allies, so in other words, use her with Wang, for each self panel broken, up to 45 panels boost special attack of self by 398. So that is a massive buff, okay? So she gets almost 18,000 special attack boost from her passive. And her skill 2 increases the chance of her panels appearing, so it synergizes with this really well. And then if you remember, her world memory also increases chance of her panels appearing, so that means that using both of those together, her world memory as well as her skill 2, will allow her to ramp up her passive very quickly. An 18k special attack boost is a lot. Anything that's over like 10k, boost for special attack buffing is quite significant. The downside here is that it will take some turns to ramp this up. I'm going to estimate that it takes about 3 to 4 turns before you cap out on this passive. That's if you can crash Freesia's skills every single turn 3 or 4 times, which would give you 9 to 12 panels, right? So that'll take you about 3 to 4 turns before you can cap out on this. Regardless, it is still really good. She is really strong. She is a good unit. If I were to grade her from C to S tier, then I would probably put her in like an A plus, or I'll probably put her in an A plus or S minus tier, right? She's not like the greatest unit, but she is a good unit and she is strong. So again, to me, she's comparable to Daji. Daji does have a slight edge over her because Daji has a more universal type of Slayer, whereas Earth Slayer here means that Freesia is just confined to fighting against Earth type content or bosses. So that's the weakness of Freesia versus Daji. But so I'll probably rate her as like an A+. I know a lot of people have been asking me for a tier list. I am in the process of extracting images for that, so I just haven't gotten around to actually cutting out each individual image. But I will have that out eventually. Thank you for your patience on that. But yeah, so the verdict here is, you know, hold off on pulling for Freesia right now. That's my opinion. I think she is a good unit, so if you really like her, then I think it's okay to pull for her, or if you have a lot of quartz, then you can pull for her. For myself, I only have 28k quartz, so I'm gonna hold off on pulling for her, because if we have another Alice Fest, that's gonna take 90k quartz to pity, and Alice Fest units are really strong in all content, which is AA, for example, which is our only Alice Fest unit so far, but she's basically been useful everywhere, as long as physical teams are viable. So I would prefer to save up for those types of units instead of pulling for a unit like Freesia, who is strong but isn't a must pull. Now the caveat here, of course, is can we clear the challenge stage without Freesia? I don't know yet because it's still early into that, right? But right now we do know that Fresia's kit is perfect for the challenge stage because they have 2 Earth type boss units, and then they also bind on turn 1. And Fresia's kit is just designed to counter or overcome that, which is again World Wonder Planet selling us a solution to a problem they created, right? And then maybe for Team Hunt, she'll also find use again because the Team Hunt hard boss is going to be Earth type as well. So that's why you would want to consider pulling for her. But for now, I would suggest waiting until we come up and we figure out ways to beat the challenge stage. If we can't find ways to beat the challenge stage without Freesia, then maybe you can consider pulling for Freesia if getting titles are important for you. But otherwise, I suggest holding and saving for other units instead of pulling for Freesia. Hope this video helped you guys, and let me know if you guys do decide to pull for her, how that went. Let me know any team comps that you guys find interesting, and you know what, maybe let me know how you guys did on the challenge stage, because I don't have, I'm not planning on pulling for Freesia. So if you guys have one, friend me so I can borrow it and test it out. But yeah, hope this video helped you guys again. Like and subscribe for more content as usual. I really appreciate the support you guys give me. But I'll see you guys in the next video.